Hello there, and welcome. You know that feeling when the day-to-day starts to feel, well, like a blur? It's like the daily grind is slowly sanding away all the sharp, vibrant edges of who you are. You might even catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror and think, wait, where did that spark go? Today, we are diving into a little bit of what I like to call cinematic therapy. We've sifted through a list of 8 amazing films and handpicked 3 that are truly life-changing. These aren't just movies to pass the time. They're more like a compass designed to help you find your way back to you. So, if you're feeling even a little bit lost or just plain worn out, stick around. This is all about how a few incredible stories can become the ultimate soul-recharging toolkit. Okay, let's really get into this feeling because I've been there, and I bet you have too. It's not usually some big dramatic crisis, is it? It's more like a quiet fade. It's when the clear, sharp lines that define your passions, your dreams, your quirks, they all start to get a little fuzzy. You're still going through the motions, work, errands, chores, but that vibrant color of your inner world, it just feels kind of muted, like a washed-out photograph. It's that slow, dawning realization that you're not really steering your own life anymore. You've become a passenger. And the scariest part, it happens so gradually, so quietly, you barely even notice it's happening until you're deep in it. And this right here, this is the culprit. The daily grind is absolutely relentless. Think about it. The constant paying of emails, the bills that need paying, the never-ending to-do lists. It all adds up to this tidal wave of responsibility that washes over you every single day. And before you know it, your identity isn't just you anymore. It's a collection of roles you play: the reliable employee, the good friend, the one who always gets things done. And look, those roles are important, but they are not the whole story. They're not the whole you, the person who wanted to learn guitar or travel the world or just spend a Saturday painting gets pushed further and further to the back. The real danger here is that we start to believe the grind is all there is, and we forget about that amazing, vibrant person we are deep down inside. Now, here's a concept that when I first heard, it was a total aha moment. It gives a name to that feeling of being so incredibly stuck. The possibility book. It's that invisible notebook you carry around in your head. It's that inner voice, that internal editor that is constantly listing all the reasons you can't do something. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. What will people think? I'll probably fail anyway. Each one of those excuses is another page you write in this book, and it feels like you're being so practical, so responsible, right? But what you're actually doing is building a cage for yourself, one excuse at a time. This book becomes the filter through which you see the world, turning every exciting "how could this work" into a dead end "here's exactly why it won't." So if the problem is this invisible book that we're all secretly writing, well, the solution has to be just as visceral and direct. We need to burn it, metaphorically, of course. This first lesson is all about taking that book of excuses, that whole catalog of what-ifs and I can't, and deciding right here and now that it no longer gets to be the author of your story. It's about fighting back against that deep-seated hesitation that keeps us locked in our comfort zones, even when those comfort zones have become really, really uncomfortable. It's about shifting our whole mindset from one of limitation to one of experimentation. And the first film we're going to look at is the perfect, most joyous example of what it looks like when someone finally decides to strike a match and set their possibility book on fire. This is a lesson in giving yourself radical permission. Okay, let's talk about the wonderful movie Last Holiday. If you haven't had the pleasure, the amazing Queen Latifah plays Georgia Bird. She's a quiet, unassuming woman who works in the cookware section of a big department store. And let me tell you, Georgia is the absolute queen of the possibility book. In fact, her book is literally a physical scrapbook. It's this beautiful, sad thing she calls her book of possibilities, where she pastes pictures of the life she wishes she had, gourmet recipes she'll never cook, incredible places she'll never visit, and even a picture of the coworker she has a huge crush on but is too shy to talk to. It's a whole life lived entirely on the page instead of out in the real world. But then, everything changes. She gets a terminal diagnosis from her doctor, and suddenly, all those reasons to wait become completely and totally irrelevant. With just a few weeks left to live, she cashes in her entire life savings and decides she is going to live out every single dream from that book. Her transformation is nothing short of electrifying. She goes from being someone who timidly lives by everyone else's rules to someone who makes her own. And it is such a powerful reminder that we don't have to wait for a tragedy to finally start living. This comparison right here just captures the entire shift in the film so perfectly. On the left, you've got Georgia's life before her diagnosis, a life totally governed by accumulating reasons not to act. It leads to what the source so brilliantly calls a life of polite postponements. Isn't that just a heartbreakingly accurate phrase? But then you look to the right, and you see what happens when she metaphorically burns that book. She stops waiting for permission and starts creating reasons to try. She's not driven by some perfect, foolproof plan anymore. She's driven by pure, simple curiosity. What would happen if I just tried? Her life transforms from this quiet series of I shouldn'ts into a vibrant, loud, beautiful series of chosen experiences. Okay, so this is the most important part, right? How do we actually do this in our own lives without needing some life-altering medical event to shake us up? The film gives us a blueprint. Step 1, veto the veto. I love this, that automatic no that pops into your head. Veto it. Take out a piece of paper right now and write down one thing, just one, that you really truly want to do, but that voice in your head immediately dismisses. Maybe it's signing up for that pottery class, or trying a solo trip to a city nearby, or finally wearing that ridiculously bold outfit that's been hanging in your closet. Step 2, commit small. This is key. You have to make it tangible and, if you can, non-refundable. Don't just think about the pottery class. Go online and pay for it. Don't just dream about that fancy solo meal, make the reservation. This creates what the source calls concrete friction. It yanks the idea out of the vague, foggy world of wishes and plants it firmly in the real world. And finally, my absolute favorite, grant yourself permission. This is so powerful. Literally write on a small piece of paper, I give myself permission to try this even if I'm not perfect at it, and stick it in your wallet. It becomes this little physical reminder that you are your own ally, not your own biggest obstacle. All right, so lesson 1 was all about creating that initial spark, right? About lighting the match. This next lesson, this is about how you sustain that fire for the long haul. It's about harnessing a really powerful and honestly often misunderstood force, obsession. Now, I know what you're thinking. Obsession sounds a little intense, but what if obsession, when it's guided by purpose and by craft, is actually the engine that makes the impossible possible? This lesson is about how you can transform a wild, seemingly unreachable dream into a daily focused practice. And it's inspired by one of the most stubborn, wonderful, and inspiring true stories ever put to film. This film, The World's Fastest Indian, is just pure heart from beginning to end. It tells the incredible true story of a man named Burt Munro from New Zealand. Burt spent decades of his life, pretty much all of his free time, in his shed, tinkering with a 1920 Indian motorcycle. His dream? To take this ancient, rickety bike all the way to the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah and set a new land speed record. Now everyone, and I mean everyone, thought he was completely crazy. He was getting old, he had almost no money, he had a heart condition, and his bike was basically a museum piece. By any and all logical measures, this was a fool's errand. But Burt had something that defied logic. He had a purposeful obsession. His energy was so single-minded, so stubbornly focused on this one singular goal that the opinions of others and the crushing reality of his limitations, they just didn't matter. The film is this amazing, inspiring portrait of what human persistence actually looks like when it refuses to bow to convention or common sense. This slide is perfect because it breaks down Burt's genius. On the left, you have the brutal, undeniable reality. A very old bike, no money, and a world filled with skeptics. On the right, though, you see his method. And this is the absolute key. His obsession wasn't just him daydreaming in his shed, it was active. It was relentless tinkering. It was paying such meticulous attention to every single nut and bolt. And most importantly, he had a huge appetite for learning by doing. For Burt, every single breakdown, every part that failed, wasn't a failure. It was data. It was the bike literally telling him what it needed to be stronger. He didn't see his limitations as a wall. He saw them as the raw material for his ingenuity. So how do we get a little more of that Burt Munro spirit in our lives? We can adopt his method. First, create a workshop mentality. And your workshop doesn't have to be a shed full of tools. It can be a notebook, a corner of your desk, a file on your computer. The point is to take your big, scary, intimidating goal and break it down into the smallest possible repeatable tasks. Don't think about writing a novel, think about writing 200 words today. Second, and this is a total game changer, learn to use your constraints. We all have them. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough experience. But instead of letting those be the reasons you can't do something, let them become the creative problem you have to solve. Bert didn't have the right parts, so he figured out how to make them himself from scrap metal. His limitations forced him to become a brilliant creative engineer. And third, and this is maybe the most important one, reframe failure. A setback is not a verdict on your ability. It is not the end of the story. It is an experiment that just gave you a very clear result. It is simply information. It's a signpost that reveals what needs to change next. Adopting this mindset transforms every single mistake from a source of shame into a source of learning, okay? So we've learned how to get started by burning our book of excuses. And we've learned how to keep going through obsession and craft. But what about right now? What about the happiness we can access today, in this very moment, without having to achieve some grand, far-off goal? This final lesson is, for me, maybe the most profound and emotionally resonant of all. It's about shifting our focus away from chasing some future ideal of happiness and toward discovering the incredible joy that is already present in our ordinary, everyday lives. It's a lesson about time, about presence, and about the quiet, beautiful art of just noticing. And the film that teaches this is one of my all-time favorites. It's like a warm hug in movie form. The film is about time. The story follows a young man named Tim who, on his 21st birthday, discovers from his father that the men in his family can time travel. At first, of course, he uses it just like you'd expect, to fix awkward moments, to get the girl, to try and perfect his life. But the real magic of this movie isn't the sci-fi twist. It's the incredibly wise lesson his father eventually teaches him. The real secret to happiness isn't about redoing your life over and over until it's flawless. It's about learning to love the life you're already living by truly, deeply being present for it, just as it is. It's about realizing that changing your relationship with time is what ultimately changes your relationship with happiness. This slide just gets right to the heart of it all. On the left is the happiness trap, which is, let's be honest, where most of us live most of the time. We believe that happiness is achievement that needs to be chased down. It's out there, somewhere in the future, waiting for us, right after we get that promotion or buy the house or lose the weight. We're constantly trying to perfect the outcomes of our lives, fix every little misstep, basically manipulating our reality to create this ideal version of life. But as Tim discovers in the film, this is an exhausting and ultimately unwinnable game. On the right is the film's beautiful, profound discovery. Happiness isn't something to be chased. It's a presence to be practiced. It's not about fixing mistakes. It's about noticing the incredible richness in the perfectly imperfect, ordinary moments. It's about finally realizing that time itself, the messy, beautiful, fleeting moments of a completely normal day, is the real treasure, not some idealized future you're desperately trying to build. And the best part is, you don't actually need to be a time traveler to apply this lesson. The film gives us two beautiful, simple exercises. The first is what the father calls the daily double. His secret formula for happiness is to live each day normally, then, at the end of the day, mentally relive it in your head, but this time with the intention of only noticing the small, positive details you missed while you were in a rush. The actual taste of your morning coffee, a kind word from a colleague, the way the sun felt on your face. The second is to take a gratitude inventory. Every single night before you go to sleep, name 3 specific, ordinary moments from your day that mattered. Not big things, but small things, like the funny text my friend sent me, or hearing my favorite song on the radio. This simple practice literally retrains your brain to scan for joy, not just for problems. And this quote from the film, it just says it all, doesn't it? It's delivered with such quiet, gentle wisdom by Bill Nye's character, and it's the ultimate acceptance. We can't stop time. We can't go back and perfect every single moment. We are all on this journey together, moving forward one day at a time, and so much of our anxiety comes from that frantic effort to control it, to fix it, to make it perfect. But the release, the peace, It comes from finally accepting the journey for what it is. It's a trip, and our only real job, our most important task, it's to do our absolute best to notice it, to appreciate it, and to enjoy it while we're on it. It reframes our entire existence from a problem that needs to be solved into an experience that deserves to be savored. It's a thought I come back to again and again and again. So after walking through these 3 incredibly powerful stories, what have we actually learned? Well, we've essentially built a cohesive, actionable plan, a soul reset plan. See, this isn't just about watching a few nice movies and feeling good for a couple of hours. It's about extracting the wisdom from them and creating a practical toolkit that we can use in our own lives starting today. We now have a tool for starting when we're scared, a tool for persisting when it's hard, and a tool for living happily right here in the now. So let's put it all together and see what our plan actually looks like. And here it is, our completed toolkit for the soul. From last holiday, we take the courage to burn our possibility books and finally grant ourselves permission to act. From the world's fastest Indian, we learn how to redirect that powerful engine of obsession into a focused craft and to see setbacks not as failures but as valuable data. And from About Time, we learn to find the profound richness hidden in ordinary life by practicing the art of noticing. Each of these isn't a one-time fix. It's a muscle that we can choose to strengthen every single day. So here they are, all together, 3 films that offer so much more than just a couple of hours of escapism. You've got Last Holiday for a shot of pure courage, The World's Fastest Indian for a masterclass in persistence, and About Time for a gentle lesson in presence. You can honestly think of them as prescriptions for the soul. Feeling stuck and hesitant? Watch Last Holiday. Feeling completely overwhelmed by a huge long-term dream? Watch The World's Fastest Indian. Feeling disconnected and a bit joyless in your daily life? Watch About Time. Each one tackles a different aspect of that blurred edges feeling and helps bring you back into sharp, vibrant focus. And that brings us to the final and really the most important question of all. This was never just about knowing. It's about doing. Information is great, but transformation only comes from action. So as you look at these 3 lessons, which one really resonates with you the most right now in this season of your life? Do you need a big dose of courage, a jolt of inspiration and persistence, or just a gentle reminder to find the joy that's already right there in front of you? I want you to pick one, just one. Watch the movie this week with intention and just see what starts to shift. The real power of these stories is that they show us what's possible, not just for the characters on the screen, but for us too. I would absolutely love to hear which film you're choosing and why. So please, share it in the comments below. Your story might just be the little push someone else needs to hear today. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and until next time, try to enjoy the trip.